Hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. What an exciting thing to be and do because here's the thing, I met this beautiful soul not too long ago, and my first impression was, wait, where did you appear? I know you. Like it was so immediate. And as I was digging into my soul, I realized that I might have had a dream about her. We can get into that conversation later. But who am I talking about? We're talking about Steph C. Martinez. And she is an
Yes.
incredible, incredible award-winning multimedia journalist. And so it was
Correct.
so important for me to have her here because she's got an incredible life story. And then also, what happens when the government stops participating in these public programs and what happens to the people that work for these programs. And I'm not going to give it away because I want for her to let us know all about that. And so, Amiga, I am so grateful that you're here. Welcome to Amiga Hand Your Shit
Thank you
podcast.
so much. I am so grateful to thank you. And I'm so glad we met. It really wasn't that long ago. It was like a week and a half ago
Yeah,
already.
something like that.
Yeah. And when you told me, like, I've seen you before, I'm like, what? Where? In your dreams? What? Yeah,
Probably,
insane.
probably. Because so, um, there's, on the energetic spiritual side, they say that you've met people along the way, right? And either they appear in the dream, but then they also have been in your life, physically in your life prior. So I'm wondering, I'm like, oh, I love to dig in more further into this, pero esa
Yes.
es la brujería que tengo aquí.
We're gonna have to go down that rabbit hole and
Oh,
figure
I
out.
know. I know, right? Right, right. Oh
Yes.
my God. So Steph, tell amigas across the globe, where are you from? And I know you are this amazing journalist. So we're gonna walk our amigas from the beginning to today. So
Sure.
take it away, amiga.
Well, so I am Colombia. I am from Colombia. I was born in Barranquilla and I moved to the US in 2001. I was 16 years old at that time. Um, how I got into journalism, I actually started studying first marketing, and I did a minor in journalism. And I took those classes at the very end, and then I discovered that I really, really enjoyed and loved storytelling. And I had nothing to do since then with marketing. That was down the drain.
Yeah.
That degree went down the drain. So I started working with Univision. That was my very first job in the industry. I was there for a little while. I did the internship, then I freelanced for them. I worked for Telemundo in Washington as well. That was for probably like 5 years. And then after that, I moved to North Carolina. I was there with Univision again. And then I moved to Los Angeles, where I stayed with Univision for around 4 to 5 years. And finally, Voice of America, which is my latest employer.
Okay. So let's backtrack. So you decided to get into marketing and minor in journalism. Why? Because I sometimes I feel like people pick certain professions because they're exposed to it in their hometowns or their parents. But what led you to pick those two areas?
I knew that I wanted to do something related to TV.
Mm,
I knew that. And then I kind of liked marketing. I liked graphic design. I had gone to the Art Institute of Washington for a little bit. So I really liked the arts. And I was like, well, I guess marketing and journalism might be like a good combination.
yeah.
However, when I was taking my classes, I started my very first video that I did. It was an assignment for one of my classes, was about just anything, and I decided to tell the story of my stepdad.
Oh,
And that story really, and I'll tell you about it, but that really opened my eyes to what was coming for me
yeah.
and the trajectory that I had, that was in my heart. So back in 1989, my stepfather's father got accused in Colombia of killing a presidential candidate.
Oh my
His name
God.
is Luis Carlos Galán Sarmiento.
Oh my God.
Eh,
You gave me chills right there.
Yeah, it's an insane story.
Yeah.
And I had obviously, like, I have everyone surrounding me. It's like my family. So I was like, I need to tell this story. And he was accused. Um, he was taken to jail. He was in jail for 4 years. See, from jail, he was always saying, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I didn't do this. He did his own investigation. He wrote a book. He wrote to many people because he had a lot of connections.
Mhm.
Um, and at the end, he got exonerated. And this is a case that to the day, it's still being, figured out. They're still working on that. It's insane. But at the end, they discovered that who sent to kill Galan was Pablo Escobar with along of other officials.
Oh
Yeah,
my God. But why would they even think that your stepdad's relative had anything to do with this?
he was a scapegoat. And at that moment, he was in Bogota where this happened.
Mhm.
And he knew the head of the police from way before. It's a very complicated story, but he knew him from way before. And I believe they weren't in the greatest terms.
Yeah.
So he was basically the scapegoat for this whole situation.
Yeah.
And the reason why they killed him was because he was going to do the extradition treaty, and they
Oh,
did not want that to go through. Obviously, Pablo Escobar did not want that, and he got killed. So it was an incredible story, right? In my hands. So I did that story, and I was just completely sold. I loved storytelling. For me,
mm,
especially, I mean, give voice to the voiceless. That's very cliche, but that's really how I feel, because it makes me really mad. My blood boils when someone takes advantage of other people that don't have the same resources or capability to fight a, a fair fight for
right.
themselves.
Yeah.
So I always like giving them, a platform for
Yeah.
them to expose what's happening.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of my journalism career. And
What
here
an
I am.
amazing start to it. So, I mean, I do have to say, this is a very powerful story that is
Yeah.
still relevant. You said it's still going on. And this is from
Yeah.
1989. Like that.
It's 1989. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the news, but just recently there's another um, presidential candidate that got shot. And it was news everywhere because they were comparing this to what happened to Luis Carlos Galán Sarmiento back in 89. And he got shot 6 times. And I believe to the day he's still alive, but he got a shot in the head. He's in critical condition.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that the things that it's still happening. All of
Yeah.
this thing is still happening, and it's been so many years.
Yeah. I mean, history tends to repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't learn from it, we're going to continue on and repeating it in a very different form, but still, the essence of it will continue to be there. So,
Yes.
oh my goodness. Well, this is an incredible story. So, you presented this as part of your project in school. So, did that land a job for you?
Not really. So I did my first internship with Univision, and from there, one of the reporters had maternity leave,
Oh.
and I'm telling you, I took to the news director. I brought him strawberries with chocolate. I was really, really trying to get that
Right.
spot. And eventually I did get it. I was very green, very, very green. So, but I tried really hard and I got that job. And then after that, I moved to Telemundo. And how I got there was they were doing they were looking for anchors, right? And I sent my resume, they called me back. I had really not that much experience still as a reporter, but zero experience as an anchor. So
Yeah.
I go there, the news director tells me, you're not, we didn't choose you. And I was like, okay, I knew I
Entonces, ¿por qué
wasn't
me
gonna.
hablas?
Yeah, why did you call me? Like, hello, my picture wasn't there. Like, what is happening here? And I was like, look, I know that I wasn't gonna get that position. I was really sure about that. But if you ever need a reporter to freelance, I
Mm,
want you to, consider me.
yeah.
And that opened the door for me. And I was there for 5 years,
As a
freelancing.
freelancer? Okay.
Yeah, I've always done freelancing because I love having control of my time
Yeah.
and being able to say no. And at that moment, I was also doing my first documentary, so I really had to have control about my time. And yeah, that's how I ended up in Telemundo.
So you mentioned documentary. So let's dig into that part of your life.
Yes.
So, as you're saying that you like doing storytelling, and so tell us about this first documentary that you made.
The first documentary is about attacks and dangers that journalists in Colombia face.
Mm,
Um, and I looked at different time periods of Colombia's history, and I kind of did a summary of all them, and I tied them to this one story of Richard Vélez. He's a journalist that he got attacked. He covered a fight, and it was such a long time ago that I don't remember if it was a guerrilla, like the FARC guerrilla
mm,
confrontation. He recorded that, and he recorded no the military kind of like doing things that were not they were not supposed to.
mm,
And after that, he got beaten up. He got death threats to his house, and then he ended up moving to the US. um, and I did his story. I did a lot of stories, but his story was the main one. It was
mm.
like el hilo conductor, like the
Yeah.
main storyline.
Yeah.
um and it was a real challenge. I got to interview a lot of great people, which I thought is amazing. And Yeah, I really love that story. It took a long time. Honestly, like I was so naive, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm delusional in that sense. I'm
Well, you
like,
know
oh
what
yeah,
that I
you
mean, I
can do
think
it.
they say ignorance is bliss. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a good thing because it might not would have stopped you if
Yes,
you knew all the
yes.
complications, right?
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. I was like, oh yeah, documentary. I can do this. Let's
Piece of
go. And then it's
cake.
be like 4 years. Yeah, 4 years, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I do think that ignorance in this case is like in these situations is great because you just go for it. You think you can do it, and at the end, yes, you can do it.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but,
yeah.
it was very rewarding.
I bet. And so you've done several documentaries, and I know as I was reading your bio that you've been awarded, I think a gold mic or something.
Yeah. The
Oh,
Golden Mic. I have an Emmy for when I was in Univision here in LA
yeah.
for midterm elections, and then the Golden Mic I received that just like a couple of months ago. So
Oh,
that
so
was, yeah.
tell us about both things. Like, how did you receive the Emmy? Like, what project led to you receiving the Emmy, and then also the Golden Mic?
For the Emmy was just coverage of the day of the midterm election. So we were all on the streets, and I was interviewing at that moment the new who was going to be the new sheriff, who
Okay.
was running for the new sheriff. So it was just that coverage. Um, then for the Golden Mike, it's an amazing story. And so this girl that I know, she's Mexican and also from here from the US. She has double citizenship, and she's a veteran. She went with her mom and her sister to Jerusalem to do, eh, how do you say the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
peregrinaje,
Yep, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pilgrimage.
the pilgrimage, and go with the family and visit all these areas that they wanted to go to.
Very
And
sacred. Very sacred.
yes, yes. And at that moment, it was very soon after they got there, the war started. Hamas and like the attack that happened to the festival, that whole thing started. And they all had to run back. There were a couple of days of craziness for them. um the mom and the sister they were able to leave in a plane, but she couldn't leave. and she
Oh my,
basically got trapped there. It
oh my
was
God.
it was so sad. And she sent me all the videos of like when she was there and how the sirens would go off all the time and they would have to run downstairs and all the bombing and all these things. And she did kind of like a diary on video.
Yes, yeah.
So she talked about it and how scared she was. There was, I believe, DeSantis sent um, an airplane along with an organization to rescue some of the Americans that were there trapped. And she was able to get in one of those. And they went everywhere. They went to Egypt. They went to some other places just to pick up a bunch of people. And then she went back to not her state, to another state. And then she had to travel to her state. It was just this whole situation.
Wow.
And she really thought that she was not going to get out of that alive.
I can imagine.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously we're here in Los Angeles, so it's very, all we hear is, clips and little small bites, right? And then we
Hmm.
read the newspaper, whatnot. But to be in it is a different level.
Whole different thing. Yeah, a whole different thing.
And she's
And
okay?
she's okay. It really impacted her. I knew her from before, and from her years of being a veteran, she has a lot of PTSD. For example, we went to eat one time, and she never faces her back to like the windows.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
always looking, towards the window in case something happens.
Right.
Like she has all these little, routines and things, and she's a very strong person. I really do admire her. And for her, to be caught up, you know, having been in war and then being caught in the middle of this massive war and all the bombing and everything, I'm sure just so she's doing well,
Okay.
but it's traumatizing.
I bet. I mean, it's like it's re-traumatization
Hmm.
of a
Yeah,
different level.
and
Yeah.
also because one of her biggest things was that she was asking for help from the government, and they would not pay for her coming back to the US.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
It was something
God.
like they could put her in a plane, but they will not pay for anything. And in all of this
And
is
she's a
happening.
veteran.
She's a veteran.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Wow,
Yeah.
that's horrible. So,
Yeah.
Steph, how did you come upon this story? Does it just kind of, do you search them out or people just like say, "Listen, can you share this story?"
It happens, I find them just from everywhere, but I knew this person because she was a friend of a friend, and I had already hung out with her. She did not tell me. Well, no, at that point, nothing had happened. But when the war happened and when she was there, I interviewed her
Oh,
because
wow.
I heard that she was there and we were doing stories, and I was like, I need to do this story.
Hmm.
So I did it, and that's how that one came in. But usually, either I find them or I find them.
Yeah. You know what? I believe in serendipity and I believe in God's divine timing. So
Mhm.
things will always come and work for your higher good if you allow that to happen, right? So,
Mhm.
why don't you tell us about what story has captivated you so much that changed the trajectory of your professional life?
Hmm. That's hard to say because I have one that created a lot of change. I would say that, but it didn't. None of my stories have really changed the trajectory of my life. They have reinforced the mission that I have.
Mm.
So, the one that I think was really amazing was it's a story that I started in North Carolina when I was reporting in North Carolina, and it ended. I kept doing it when I was in Univision here in LA. So in North Carolina, I spoke with a lawyer. I had an interview with her, and she mentioned something like, "Oh, can you believe I have a client that it's getting someone selling her the Native American citizenship. And I was like, what? Excuse me? What? Huh? My ear
What?
just like perked
Yeah.
immediately. And she was like, yeah, she paid thousands of dollars to buy the Native American citizenship. And supposedly she's going to get it or whatever. And I was like, no way. Like, what is this? Okay, who's this person? And the lawyer's like, I can't tell you.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I know someone exists that's going through this. So I'm going to do a story with nothing. So I did the story about it.
Mhm.
I looked a little bit here and there. It was very little information, but someone called me. Someone that saw the story called me, one of the victims. And this person introduced me to, it was like a can of worms, to dozens and dozens of victims across the US. And there were a lot in Texas. There were probably like 70 people in Texas. It was insane. There were some people in Virginia, in Georgia, Texas. And I started going down this rabbit hole trying to figure out who these people are. And I found that they had East Coast and West Coast offices. They were in Vegas and they were in New York. And they had nothing to do with this tribe. And they were recruiting people at churches, mostly at
Just
churches
to get immigration status
to
as a
get
Native American.
immigrants, to get people that are willing to buy the Native American citizenship. And once they start paying, they would send them boxes of books to learn their language. Like these people
What?
literally created books to send them with their language. And so that was really insane. I actually contacted the FBI,
Yeah.
and they referred me to HSI, so Homeland Security.
Right.
And I started speaking with this agent, and he told me like, yeah, I was looking into it, but they're not giving me funds, so I'm just doing this on my own. And I'm like, well, I have all the people, I have all this evidence that I got from them, because I actually visited Texas and I interviewed them. I had the scammers talking on the phone, like I recorded.
Yeah.
And at that moment, one of the victims told me like, they know you're here. And that's when I literally, I'm not kidding, I went to Walmart. I got a hat. I got sunglasses. And I just went from the hotel to the airport, and that's it. Never, because you just never know with these people.
Oh my God.
So they reopened that Homeland Security investigation. And I gave them all the evidence, everything that I had, and they grabbed them. I was able to find where these people in Vegas lived. I was gonna go, but I don't remember why I didn't end up going. And I had the address in New York, so I gave that to them, and they caught them. They caught them,
Oh
and
my
yeah,
God. What a fraudulent enterprise.
incredible.
Wow. Wow.
It's
No,
crazy.
and it also, I mean, with the Native Americans, but it happens a lot in the Latino community as well. As well.
Yeah.
I mean, as a lawyer, I've seen the scams. Um, I used to go to court and I would do volunteer work for EOIR, which is the actual court of the immigration system. And I was a volunteer attorney, and I would be astonished that tons and tons of immigrants were bamboozled by providing these false asylum applications because they were sold with the idea that you can get legal here in the United States based por el tiempo.
Mm.
And oh my,
Only the time, just
yeah,
based on the time that
que
you've been
tienes
here.
el tiempo por el tiempo. 10
No, it's
years. But
crazy.
you've been, and I'm like, how? You're Mexican and you're filing an asylum claim? Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there
Yeah.
would be back then, El Salvador was very dangerous, so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
asylees came from that part. But I was like, oh my God. And so getting involved with the community, you start hearing all these horrible stories, how
Mm-hmm.
they've been victims of this, right? And it
Yeah,
happens time and time. I'm
all
glad
the
that
time.
you highlighted this situation.
Mhm.
So can we see it on online, or how do we get a hold of this documentary?
I did, that one's not a documentary. That was, I did that for
Un
Univision.
reportaje?
So sí, so era
Okay.
reportaje especial.
Uh-huh.
And I think I have them somewhere. They're definitely in the internet. If you
Okay.
Google, they come up. Um, but yeah, those were like special assignments that I had, like a 2 3 piece one.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've had a couple of those that really, really have like moved me, and I
Yeah.
feel really proud of.
I bet.
Yes.
I bet.
Mhm.
It really solidifies your mission.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
100%. a
1000.
100%.
Yes.
Mm.
So, amiga, okay, so you've been working Univision, Telemundo, Univision, and then you come to Voz America. So tell
Mhm.
us, how did you jump from one big company over to Voz America?
So first worked with Voice of America in 2015. So I already knew the people there, and I worked with this one person that turned out to be, later on in 2019, he became like the director for digital. Um, and they reached out to me, and I was like, Univision, Voice of America. But the conditions that were being offered in Voice of America were amazing, were great. So I was like, you know what? I'm at this point in my life where I want to feel peace. And I went, with Voice of America. Um, I don't know if I think I mentioned it when we met, but Voice of America is the government station,
Mhm.
um, and it was created during World War II to fight Nazi propaganda.
Mhm.
So we were reporting what was happening in World War II with our own reporters, facts, not what uh, Germany was saying that was happening. So this is a very old organization, and it is approved by Congress. Congress is the only one that can close it. The
Mhm.
budget goes through Congress, and we have something called the firewall, and the firewall prevents any government official from interfering or influencing. Is that a word? Influencing, yeah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Influencing
Yeah.
what we report on, because we want to be completely unbiased and balanced. So, that has always protected us, but we have come to some very interesting times. So it's been a little bit harder lately.
Yes, I bet. And so I really wanted you to talk about that.
Hmm.
So your Voice of America is a program under the federal government, as you said. And so in the federal government, some are cut. And so I think from our conversation was that the program that you were in was cut through the Doge program, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that, because that popped my interest, because
Hmm.
I hear like um, all these groups getting cut and whatnot, but I've never had anyone with that I had any personal knowledge of
Hmm.
it. So tell
Yeah.
us, how how did it go? Like, at what point did they stop? You were told like, no more, no more, you can't come to work anymore.
This is the first time that I actually speak to someone about it, because there's also right now a lawsuit. It's a lot
Mm,
is happening right now, but we found out by a tweet from Carrie Lake, who's the advisor, um, for Trump for USA. USAGM is the organization, and then Voice of America and other smaller organizations are there. So she really can't do much because she's not part of USAGM. She can only advise. But she tweeted, I believe it was March, sometime mid-March, something like that. She tweeted that we were terminated, and really nobody knew that that was happening.
yeah.
So I get a bunch of texts saying Voice of America is closed, Voice of America is closed. And I'm like, I'm 3 hours behind. So I just jump and I'm like, what the F is happening here? And then we find out that, yeah, Donald Trump had signed an executive order, kind of stripping everything, stripping Voice of America of everything, the funds, everything that we had. And then we received the next day a letter of termination saying, officially on March 30 or 31st, I don't remember, but the last day of March, you guys are terminated. That was a 2-week notice. And
Wow.
nobody knew that this came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was insane. Obviously, like lawsuits started at that point that froze that termination. So we were in admin leave for a while.
Okay.
They were able to close it again, to send the terminations again, that they did become effective at the end of May. So right now, I'm not working for them. There's where we were 1,000 something people. Right now, there's probably 15.
Oh my God.
Like even HR was fired. Like they stripped that. And by law, they can't close it. There has to be a minimum required to cover the news. And they think that the 10 people that are there will satisfy the minimum. And what the lawsuit is saying, like, no, it's not going to satisfy the minimum. And it's clear by when the Iran and Israel war was happening, they called in 75 Persian reporters from the Persian division, because Voice of America has 40 something languages.
Oh wow.
We have 360 million, we had 360 million a week of the audience weekly. It's insane. So we have a lot of content. We cover a lot of things. And when the war started, they called back the 75 Persian reporters. So we were like, well, see, you can't really do the statutory minimum with just 10 people. It's impossible.
Right.
And their solution to that was to offer, I think the name it's OAN News.
Mm.
I don't want to say the wrong name, but I believe it's OAN News. But it's a far right media organization that has supported Trump for many years,
Yeah.
supported his claims, and Carrie Lake said, "Oh, we spoke to OAN, and they are willing to give us their news for free." And we were like, "Oh, okay." Oh,
Ah.
okay. I see what's happening here.
Yeah, because yes, but I mean, the whole point of Voice America, it was established because to give impartial news. So
Correct.
now there's partial news. Like now,
Correct.
oh my,
And when we closed, Russia and China were very happy about that, because one of the things that we do, Voice of America's soft power tool. And what that means is that it's not like, oh, we're going to war, we're going to infiltrate and influence these people by physical means. No, we're doing it through news.
yeah,
We're taking news, unbiased news, to countries that don't have unbiased news, right? That they have a regime, and Venezuela, Cuba, Russia, North Korea. We also have our system with the radio to reach these people that don't have internet.
yeah,
So it has a lot of influence in the world. And once we have that whole, you saw you see China and Russia they spend millions and millions of dollars in disinformation,
hmm
and we have no way to fight that now.
yeah, yeah,
um because I mean, NBC is not going to do it, CNN is not going to do it. Like, this is something that was our mission, to bring this
right,
news to these countries. Um so it's very sad. We have reporters that came from those countries, and that most likely, if they go back, which they might have to go back, because they were J1 visas, they
yeah,
will probably get arrested. There's
wow,
one reporter that's in jail right now, a Voice of America reporter, and they are kind of like just floating now. They don't know what to do. It's a really sad situation. There has been people working there for 20, 30 years. Um, so yeah, it's very interesting what is happening, but I think that I knew by but by what I saw in the first Trump administration, I knew that something was going to come on the second administration against us, but I didn't think it was going to be this.
Yeah, no, I bet. I mean, I can understand to a certain extent because when at the time I was still practicing as an immigration attorney, and when that hit, when he became the president of the United States, like I felt like my heart just sunk because I realized that my business would be going down. Like it just wasn't going to be what the hopeful,
Mhm.
the what you want to see about our community, like, oh, you became a citizen, oh, you became a green card holder. I knew that was going to be less and there was going to be more heartbreak. So I realized that, and being sick myself, I just was like, I can't handle this. I need to break away and move from this and decide a different path. And
Mhm.
so now that I'm doing the podcast, I wrote a book and all the things, it's like, oh my God. Sometimes when things are really hard, it's just a redirection, right? Like it's not a
Mhm.
rejection, it's a redirection. So are you being redirected right now? What are you working on?
I am for sure. I'm very stubborn with my news and storytelling that I'm like, I'm always going to do news. So I'm still going to do news through my digital platform. That's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. You dedicate, a lot of my time to that. But I'm also redirecting to working on my own creative studio, which
Mhm.
I've had for a while, but I haven't had the time to really like invest on it and try to get clients and everything. So I'm a content creator. I basically help people not only to make content but to feel comfortable in front of the camera. So I'm bringing in some of the things that I learned as a journalist, like as a TV journalist, to what I teach. So it's not only that part of like, let me do the content for you. It's like a really, it's a growth
Yeah.
thing for
Yeah.
me. So I have some clients for that I work with. And then I also have a digital course, which is $47. And that course, it has 6 modules and it explains to you the A to Z of content creation.
Mhm.
So it teaches everything, everything, everything right there. You can finish it in 7 days, literally, and know by the end, have an idea of what you need to do and what you need to do correctly to grow in social media and hopefully, sell your product, sell your brand, yourself, or whatever you need to sell.
Oof, I love that. So where can they get a hold of this information?
So I have two. Well, first, my socials at Steph News. Everything is at Steph News. And then the website is labdecontenido.com. That is where you'll see everything that I do. But the course specifically, it's viralizateya.com.
Oh, how do you spell that?
Viralizateyya.
What a
Viralízate ya.
Ándale. Ah,
Let's go,
bravo.
viralízate.
Yes, sí, sí, sí. That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
amiga. Well, I know that we're getting at the top of the hour for our interview here today, but before I let you go, I want to ask you if you could provide a tip or two on how an amiga can handle her shit.
Okay, so one of the things that I suffer from is general anxiety.
Ooh.
Okay. And I mean, I don't know, this is weird, but I don't like doing presentations and things like that.
Oh, and you're a
And
journalist.
and I'm a journalist, I know, but I could be in front of a camera with like millions of people seeing it. And for me, it's like, and then I'm like in front of 3 people doing something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Like I'm sweating. But so when something like that comes up, I know how I react when I don't do it. Let's say I have a presentation tomorrow or I have to MC something. I know that if I turn it down, I become really depressed because I am blocking my growth,
Mm,
right? I am
mm,
really blocking my growth. So I always push through by saying something like, you know what? Tomorrow it's going to happen. And tomorrow night, you would have been like, oh, thank God I did it. And it feels great. And this is going to be amazing for my career. So I
yeah,
just try to think about the fact that time's going to go by.
yeah,
And then after that, I'm going to be like, if I didn't do it, I would have been like, I should have done it. Like I would be done right now with it,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So I think about what would happen later and how I'm going to feel. And I know that I feel terrible if I don't take advantage of all the opportunities, all the good opportunities that come my way. So
Right.
I think that and also like whatever, like you just have to do it scared. You have to.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
sometimes we can be our worst enemy when it comes to that. And I
yeah.
really got to the point that I'm like, I'm not going to say no. And I'm going to
Mm,
be dying, but I'm not going to say no because I know that after I'm going to feel so good
yeah,
about it.
yeah. It's kind of like exercising.
Yeah.
When you don't want to, you're like, oh God.
Yeah,
But then you do
exactly.
it, you're like, oh, thank God I did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the same thing. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing that comes to mind when I'm dealing with something.
Yeah. So you visualize the
Mhm.
proper outcome, the
Yes.
positive part of it. Some people like go the negative side. I'm like, no,
No, no,
that's so
no.
not me. I'm like,
Oh,
I know.
I would freak out if I did that. Can you imagine? No, I just visualize the good stuff after and then how I would feel if I don't do it.
Yeah.
And I would feel depressed because
Right.
that has happened before.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have proof, right? When you don't
Yeah.
take action in something that you should have, then you're like, "Psh, darn it, I should have
Yeah.
done that. I should have.
Yeah. I would have been done already by
Yeah.
now.
And I would have felt amazing like I do right now.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Right?
So,
Yeah.
amiga, so tell us, is there something you'd like to share with us before we leave?
Not really. I really want to thank you for this opportunity to tell my story. And I think it was amazing that we met. We met for a reason. I hope your audience likes, the stories, that they find it helpful. And if anybody needs a platform to say something, I'm here. I'm here for them. I'm here for you. You know that.
Mm.
And yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. Well, I'm excited because, amigas, I get to work with Steph. I really do. And she's going to be helping me with the creation of my videos. So stay tuned.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much, Steph, for being here on Amiga
Mm.
Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you.